It's been a pretty tough week or so now for Boeing, as their strike action, which involves tens of thousands of employees, continues to ramp up. The plane maker's attempts at getting a new agreement approved was, you may recall, rejected at the end of last week by an overwhelming 96%. The agreement did offer a pay rise, the first in quite a considerable period, alongside a commitment to building, delivering, and fundamentally completing all work for a new commercial airliner in the region that the union's employees call home of Washington. However, the 30,000 plus union members overwhelmingly rejected such a deal, and some 94% of them would then vote for a walkout, essential strike action to halt proceedings and try to obtain what they require. As the strike continues into now a new working week, Boeing is considering the freezing of hiring new employees and is also determining whether temporary furloughs would be required. Fresh negotiations with union members are expected to commence today, depending on when you are, however, watching this. While all parties will hope for a quick resolution, some industry experts have stated it'll be a little bit more challenging than that. The shutdown comes also at a worse possible time for Boeing, which has already been battling a major production crisis that we know has restricted overall output for months and now looks set to continue even longer. Furthermore, Boeing is battling substantial and frequent losses that are spiraling it into debt. Stabilizing the business is a considerable priority at this stage, but we know it's increasingly more difficult. It does feel like every time this manufacturer charts a course for rebuild, something happens, whether it be its own fault or out of its control. In a letter from the CFO Brian West detailing the impact of strike action, much was highlighted regarding the overall recovery abilities and also the effect on the future that would be felt. Boeing is now, you can consider, in full preservation mode to limit cash losses and safeguard key elements for the future. However, this does have colossal ramifications on the ability to produce aircraft types across multiple programs. The knock-on effect is also then felt by airline customers, who have not been afraid to publicly voice their frustrations with the substantial delays right across 2024. Now, with fresh strike action and further concerns about Boeing's ability to produce aircraft in the more short term, those frustrations are only expected to grow. While much of Boeing's focus must rest on the ability to rectify the ongoing contractual disputes causing this strike action, there are also concerns about the losses that this walkout is causing. Early predictions from analysts that were cited by Reuters and later confirmed by other known industry experts state that the losses could substantially pile on a daily basis if no agreement is reached. The figure is expected to be over USD 100 million for each day of revenue lost until some form of agreement can be reached to reinstate work. The really important thing, though, to add is that is for each day work is not taking place. There are much greater ramifications that will impact finances long into the future because of this halting in work. While the strike action certainly hasn't been ongoing for a few weeks and rather a few days, you know that the damage is already done for a manufacturer and just generally a business of this sheer scale and importance. And it's going to take time for Boeing to, once again, rebuild its production lines and other avenues. That being said, it's already trying to rebuild these things, so this latest hit just comes, like I touched on a little bit earlier, at a worst possible time. Incredibly, despite internal troubles and discontent between employees and, say, their senior managers, which has long been documented to have occurred in the 2010s, major strike actions such as this, and certainly on this scale, has largely been avoided until now. The hundreds of millions being lost, which could easily stretch into the billions if a contract isn't agreed upon, and obviously more analysis is done on the overall financial impact, it's going to put Boeing in a tougher spot. with all the other pressures just away from employees that it faces on a daily basis. I'd love to hear your take. When do you believe Boeing comes to the table with its employees and agrees on something? Is strike action going to continue and Boeing to hurt even further, or does something need to be agreed? Will it happen in a day's time or a couple of days? We know the longer this continues, the worse things are going to get. Thanks a lot for watching, take care, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for your latest industry news.
And we'll fly.